Should I host my website in Australia? Yes, it is more expensive to host in Australia. It's not ridiculously expensive. Base plans from $15 a month as opposed to, $4 or $5 a month on the surface seems expensive. It really comes down to how critical your website is. How important is your website to be up all the time? If the answer is super critical and super important, and also taking into account that emails are typically linked to your hosting, and how important are your emails? Now, for most small business these days, they are absolutely critical to have your emails functioning all the time. What you don't want, and what you'll find tends to happen if you're hosting with an American company or something like that, is when your emails go down, it's typically the middle of the night over there. So getting support is really difficult because of the time zone difference. And quite often the larger companies over there, you're on hold for a long time as well. Hosting in Australia, when it comes time to a problem, you've got access. It's the same time zone. Another downside is if you're hosting with a company in America, when they have their scheduled maintenance or planned updates, things where they update the servers or they migrate to a new server or new platforms or do some troubleshooting, they do that time outside of their business hours to minimize the impact of their clients. Downside is, outside their business hours is smack in the middle of our business hours in Australia. So you'll quite often find that scheduled maintenance and planned outages occur right in the middle of the day, or right when you need to use your email or your website needs to be up, because that's the time when your customers are looking at it. So, while it's all good and well, if you're not heavily dependent on your website being up or your emails being up, it doesn't really matter where you host. But if those things are important to you, then you should really look at hosting in an Australian hosting provider, because you're minimizing that risk, and you've also just got it's closer to home. So hopefully you can pick up the phone and give them a call if there's any problems, or if you want to add a new email address, or some simple updates and that. You don't want to have to be chasing them down at all hours of the night.